you that are now coming in, thank you all for attending our livestock record keeping. As you may have not been here from the beginning, but as I mentioned, it's going to be a little bit different for tonight. So I'll be covering the first portion of the production side of things when it comes to record keeping for just mainly cattle and sheep that I have more experience with. And probably halfway through, I will go ahead and transition over to Terrell Yazzie, who will be discussing the financial record keeping portion. So I feel that not only does production record keeping is important, but I feel that the financial aspect of it is also important and it needs to be incorporated. So I'll just have you guys save your questions till the end, but you can more than welcome insert them in the chat box. Okay, to start off, why do we keep records? And I always have this as one of the couple first slides is why keep records. So one of them is obvious to know if you have reached your goal or not. The other reasons is financial records that you want to keep tabs on those, as well as you can use your records utilizing it as a planning tool, keep track of your feed, and having accurate records on your top producing animals, identify areas of improvement, traces of diseases, pasture movement, and as well as tax purposes. So those are just a couple of reasons that we should, keep records in our home on our operation. So just a couple things that you want to think about when it comes to keeping records. So when it comes before having an operation, I always like to have this in our folks' mind as you participants to get to know what your goal is for the whole operation as a whole. So if you don't really have a goal in mind, then what is it that you're, going for? So you want to be specific and establish a clear logical reason on why pursuing this goal makes sense. So it's easy to, get enthusiastic about the great idea for a moment. But when you look at 3, 6, or 9-month scale, those emotional surges and are only like tiny blimps. So instead of relying on those emotional ups and downs to, pull you to the finish line, establish a clear logical reason why pursuing this goal makes sense. So write it out on a piece of paper, put it on your refrigerator wall in case you forget. By having clear reasons for why this goal is worth the cost, the time, the money, and the effort, you're most likely to see that goal through until the very end. So say that you want to have better sheep or better lambs. Okay, well, what do you mean by better lambs? So you have to be specific. So are you saying that you want to have better lambs as far as like meat quality or wool quality or even both? So there is where you want to be specific. Are you looking for a dual purpose sheep? Are you looking for just a wool quality type sheep? If so, if you want something that's dual purpose, then you have to look into, okay, well, what will thrive in my area? What will thrive in my environment, especially during this heat? So you want to see what other dual purpose sheep will thrive in this sort of climate. So one that we see a lot around here on the reservation is going to be the Navajo churro. They've been here so many years. They're well adapted, very versatile in this area. They can handle the heat. They can handle the mesas. So they're really good at they have really good wool, and it's a lot better than the coarse wool that you see on a lot of meat breeds like Suffolks, Dorsets, Hampshires. So, and their carcass is pretty well and very good, and they're very, very good mamas as well. So there's one of them. So you may want to look into other breeds that may strike your interest. If you're not interested in churro, then look into other breeds. So that's what I mean to be specific before you start an operation, before you start a cattle operation. It's always good to have a goal in mind to start off with and run from there. When not having a goal is just kind of leave you hanging like, okay, well, what am I trying to improve? I put so much money into it. Where am I going? So be specific and establish your goals. All right. I don't know why this is not moving. Okay. So on the production side of things, we're going to be talking about more of the performance information. So we're going to be talking about birth and reproduction. We're going to talk about what I mean by birth and reproduction is such as your record keeping sheets are going to have information such as sheeps are dropping singles, triplets, twins, calves are singles. You're going to have calving, lambing, kidding dates, dam IDs, sire ID, ram ID, so forth. All, what the basic animal identifications are. And I'm going to be showing you some examples so that way you kind of flow through it with me. As far as health and survival rates, what I mean by this is like mortality, stillborns, cause of death after some of the ewes that pretty much have stillborns. You want to keep track of those ewes that have stillborns. Is that the first time that they have stillborns before? Is this like the second or third year in a row that you're having stillborns from that one ewe? So you want to keep track of that. So if you didn't have any information on her from the years prior and she had stillborns, and where you're gonna think, okay, well, I'm guessing last year she had a stillborn, or it might be in 2023. I'm not too sure. So that's where record comes in place, is to have a record keeping system on your ewes and your cattle to know, okay, so this one's survival rate on the lambs is not too good. And as well as health treatments, medications given. So I'll show you some of the protocols that I recommend for producers to have, to write down actually. Culling records. I always suggest culling non-contributing ewes and cows that are not making you any profit. If they're pretty much in the second year, third year, not dropping calves, not dropping lambs, they got to go. So I'm not sure what else you may be keeping them for. But if they're not making you any profit, then they have to go. If they have bad backs, maybe that's something that they've currently came down with, and they need to go to the vet to go get them seen, and maybe it's something that you can fix. Or if it's something genetic, then there's where you have to start thinking like, okay, well, do I want to keep her young? Is she just like her mother with, a bad back, or what is it? So looking back, you want to see if her babies are looking good and healthy and they don't have any sort of that condition. Pasture production. So when I say pasture production, I put on here, I find that it's very important to know how many days to weeks to months of how long you're keeping your flock or your cattle in certain areas of the pasture. Are you doing a pasture rotation? Are you doing intensive or continuous grazing? What is it? So you want to be very, not specific. If you do want to, you can be specific and say like they started on August 1st and I'm going to take them out on August 31st. Or if it's even a shorter span. And you say that I'll put them in the summer pasture for now, but later I'll put them in a winter pasture where it has more forage. Another thing would be, are you reseeding in that pasture as well, where that pasture gets more rain. So you want to look at that reseeding packet that you get from the feed store and see how long it takes for reseeding to grow. So make sure you read those labels, and if you don't want to release your livestock in that pasture just because you're waiting for that reseeding to grow, then you may want to put that down as part of your records. Hay production, and this one counts as feed production. I know maybe some of you here are coming from like San Juan County area, and you guys are growing alfalfa or grass. One thing, perhaps, send in a feed analysis to see if your hay is meeting the nutritional requirements. That could be an option if you are just feeding hay off the field to your livestock without having to rely on nappy. And we also talk about feed production as well, to keep a close eye if you're buying, hay from neighbors or nappy, and you're going to be feeding your sheep indoors for this winter. How many hay does it take for them to, start from, I don't know, November all the way to February, or however long that you're keeping them indoors for the winter. Especially when it comes to areas where there's no fencing involved. So you want to start thinking about feed production and how long each bale will last every week, or a bale lasts every 2 weeks. I don't know. It just depends on how many livestock you have. And as well as courses, having sales, keeping track of all of your sales date and your buyer info, and keeping that on hand. Okay. One thing that I really like for producers to take home with them is this information here: vaccination and treatment records. I find this vitally important for anyone that's on here, if you have sheep or you have cattle. So obviously we know the purpose of vaccinating our cattle, our sheep, is to, protect them from diseases, both to provide their welfare and their health, and economically, because we rely on these guys for food. So several things that I recommend that you should write down when it comes to vaccines are the serial and lot number, as well as the company, the expiration date, the withdrawal time, the dose given, and where it's given. Especially when it comes to dewormers, what type of wormer that you're giving: oral drench to your sheep, perhaps, pour-ons to your cattle, injectables for either your cattle or sheep, the dose given, and the company. So I highly recommend for you all to keep record of what vaccines and treatment you use for your livestock, especially your wormers. And here is a treatment record too. I find treatment and vaccine very differently. In my opinion, I feel that vaccine is treating for diseases. For treatment records, I see it more as that the animal has already been infected, and it's more of a treatment record that I see it. So the animal treated, you put down their number, what indicated the treatment, say that they've maybe came down with mastitis. So the date of treatment will be August 21st. The product would be an antibiotic, and the route of administration, then you write that down, the dose given, the product lot and serial number, withdrawal time, and the person administrating. And when it comes to comments, I like to be really not too precise, but detailed as well. So when it comes to mastitis, I would say that the ewe is pretty not friendly with the other ewes. She's just like in the corner by herself. She's limping because her udder has just really got inflamed and it's hard as a rock, where when she starts to walk, she's rubbing against her udder, which makes her uncomfortable. So that's why she's trying to limp and not get her udder so inflamed. She's really staying a distance from her lambs when they want to grab milk. And she's very, not eating, not drinking. So those are the kind of comments that I like to incorporate that into my treatment records whenever I decide to take them to the vet, because I know that that will be one of the main discussions that I will have with my vet is what are her signs? Like, what is she doing right now in your view? Is she just like lying around? So you want to be as detailed as you can with them so that way they get the idea of what it is. Feeding records. So, often animals are not unable to consume enough nutrients from the rangeland to fulfill their uh, requirements for maintaining like accessible production level. So during such situations, supplemental feeding is necessary, especially in the winter, in the fall. So it's best to know what pasture you place those supplements in. So if it's away from a water source and you decided to put it in the next pasture over, so where is it? Are you putting it in a location where there's lots of grass that has grown and you want them to try to move away from their water source to that Vitalix? As well as total cost, I'm sorry. Know how much, 4-away mix that you're purchasing for the fall, especially when it comes to breeding season. Your cattle and your sheep will want to need more protein right now, especially if they're carrying a young. I'm not going to really talk about the total cost just because that's going to be part of the next financial record keeping. So now I'm going to talk about the different types of record keeping systems. So there's two of them, which is going to be the manual type record keeping that we may have all been aware of, and as well as the digital. So all of you may have how do you keep records? For myself, I use a binder notepad. I find it very easy and accessible and very inexpensive, and I can take it anywhere I want. There's also that NCBA notepad, which is the National Cattle Growers, or I think Beef Association. Those are those little red booklets that are the size of your back pockets, and you can take it with you to the ranch. It does have all the cattle information, record keeping, I believe, stuff in there from, it's been a while since I had these red books, so I'm not quite sure how it looks right now, but I believe it had like the bred date, the bull ID, the cow ID, heifers, and so forth. So calving information. So I haven't really touched these ones in a long time just because they're really small for me to read and I just have to like squint and it gets really tiresome. So I'm not really fond of the red book, but I mean, some people may have. The other one would be desktop calendar and the computer software. There are computer softwares available, so it's just a matter of looking for them. Okay, so manual record keeping, we all know it's inexpensive. You can create your own. You can create it on Excel sheet. You can, easy to use, take it everywhere. I'm not too sure if you want to take that desktop calendar everywhere with you. It's pretty big. But if you want, go for it. I mean, it'll just be you and the cows out there. So, and just writing on that big notepad. The other one would be electronic record keeping. You must have a device. And it's pretty pricey, especially for Cattle Max. The Cattle Max, I believe it was ranging from I think $10 all the way until it keeps increases. So the more cattle that you have, the higher that subscription is going to be. Herd Watch is the same thing. There is a free, I believe, subscription with only like the basic functions that you want. But if you want to upgrade it, it will tell you like the upgraded version will have, tips and tricks on how to better have calves next year or something like that. So they'll sell you on other things that will boost up that subscription. So it's just the matter of looking for them. When it comes to electronic record book, make sure the apps has the features that fits your needs. So if you are looking for, information that includes recording births, recording mortality rates, weaning weights, treatments, vaccines, I did say weaning weights, sire information, animal identification, basically. If it does meet your needs, great. And if you're in or wanting to try out the electronic version, by all means. The only suggestion I make is make sure that it does not take so much storage from your phone, because the bigger the app, the larger space, the space is going to basically overcome your phone. And as well as the Wi-Fi and cellular data accessibility. So if you're going to be out there pairing mamas to their calves, you may want to know if that app can work offline if there's no signal involved. When it says SOS on your phone and you're out there in the middle of the, nowhere trying to pair your cows to their calves, and you don't want to miss it, and you're like, okay, well, I hope it works. And then you get back home and all that information's gone. So double check to see if that app works offline when there is no signal. And when it comes to support, and I did not put this on here, when it comes to support, I highly recommend to see if their chat and support system are like 24/7 type thing. Because we don't take any breaks when it comes to ranching. We don't take breaks when it comes to farming. So we want to know if there's something wrong with our app. We want to know if there's a chat already available and someone will be on the other line with us. So just be aware, some of the things that you want to think about. And overall, does this make sense for my operation? Okay, so record recommendation, like I said, make sure it fits your operation, it's user-friendly, and it provides all the necessary information, whether it's written or electronic. All right, I'm cutting it close now, so I'm going to try and roll through this not as fast as I can, but trying to cover all the important basics. So when it comes to animal identification, we all know that we want to avoid duplication. We want it to be easy to read, and we want it to be easy to apply. So ear tags should be placed between the middle and lower cartilage rib in the ear and far enough out of the ear to allow for wool growth, because you don't want to be pushing that sheep ear tag all the way towards inside the ear. By the time fall comes around, and poof, all that wool is covering that number. So be mindful about that. In addition to identifying an individual animal, ear tags can contain other useful information about the animal. Some folks actually, number in order. The first digit could contain the year and then the birth order. It could be different, for other people. There are ear tags that are already labeled with numbers on them, ready available at the feed store. Okay, so when it comes to production records, this is what I do with my record system. with lambing and breeding, what to include in the lambing report is obviously the ewe identification, the ram identification, the lamb number, whether that lamb is female or male, the date of birth, vaccines, and any notes that I find that are useful. And you'll see this example here. So 2310, she was born in 2023 and she was a 10th one to drop. That's her birthday. That's her dad, and this is her mom. She was bred to this ram here. Due date was on the 5th, and she actually landed 5 days later on February 10th. She's a very good mom, no difficult birth, and a good lambing. So I find that a very good mama, and I tend to keep her in the herd for a very long time because she has no need for us to interfere with her cat or for her birthing. Same thing with cattle breeding record. You want to have all the same information, the cow ID, the breed is Black Angus, the sire, the dam, who she's been bred to, the due date, the calving, the actual calving date, and the number of calves born is usually just one. Any notes that you have of that mom. And down below is going to be her offspring's information too. So if you want to put any remarks, for instance, a mother experiencing dystocia, or both the cow and calf are healthy but are showing slight behavioral changes, you've probably seen those moms where they're very friendly, they're very nice, they come up to you for cake, then all of a sudden when they drop their baby, they're vicious and they don't want you close or near them. So maybe make a note for that whenever you're deciding to be out in the middle of nowhere, no fencing around, and can't jump in the truck because your truck's far away. I don't know. So culling record. So I find this very important, especially if you're going to start culling your cattle with, just gums and they're not, eating properly. They can't eat out there. So their body condition just plummet. And, what use do you have for them? So it's best just, take them to the cow house. So they're having teeth problems. So you can see on there on the culling record in the corner, October 17th, the animal ID is 1901, and this is a sheep. She's a female and she's really not meeting a good body condition score and she has teething problems. So we have no use for her. So she's heading to Kirtland. All right. So when it comes to treatment records, like I've mentioned, it's different from my vaccine records and my treatment records. When it comes to treatment records of mine, I tend to always use this as a tool to know, like, okay, well, this lamb keeps experiencing a lot of white muscle disease. I'm not sure if I, may want to keep her mom because it seems like it's every other year that I'm ending up with some lambs that are experiencing pneumonia. So I put down the animal ID, then the date of treatment. You don't have to do the AM or PM. You can leave that blank if you want. But for me, I just like to know what time of day that I've administered the treatment. So Bozy injection is a vitamin E, which helps out with the white muscle disease. And I am going to put it in sub-Q. So method of treatment injections, where it says method of treatment up here. Injections, we all know sub-Q, intramuscular, intravenous, oral drench, topical, intranasal. That just helps me when I abbreviate things, and they're already abbreviated already. So this helps me not to constantly write in the booklet when I don't have that much space, and I'll just, put an abbreviation in there when I need to. Then you want to put down the withdrawal date. If you practically use sheep as your home consumption, I put down on here meat because obviously we're going to eat them. I would want to know the withdrawal time, especially if you're going to be selling them or, to the auction or to someone else. You want to know when that withdrawal period will end. So counting 14 days, the withdrawal time will be met on February 3rd. And for the site, I do put down the site information down here. If you want to just say neck, just say neck. If you want to be specific, you can say front of the shoulder, left or right. In the comments, I will put down what that lamb or sheep is experiencing, like I before, to be specific. So when it comes to vaccination records, you want to go ahead and list down the company. So the company will be there where it's circled. So all of these vaccines are going to have all this information. It's just a matter of reading. And it's pretty simple. So serial number and expiration date are always going to be in the back. So it will say serial number, then the expiration date. So that's very important to keep track of. Then where it says dose, route, and booster given, it will be all right here in this directions. So for cattle, it will say administer 5 ml sub-Q, following a second dose 4 to 6 weeks later. Following for sheep, you have to administer 2.5 ml sub-Q. Then you have to follow up with a second dose 4 to 6 weeks later. So it will give you the dose given, 5 ml, the route, sub-Q, booster given, and it will say second dose. All right, and this is the withdrawal date. So under precautions, and you'll see that is where you say 21 days before slaughter. You don't want to be slaughtering an animal when they first got their treatment or their vaccine, and you're slaughtering them the day later. And the vaccination administered. Okay, all right, we're wrapping up. So for livestock sales, a bill of sale for livestock is very important. I really like to have the buyers know, whomever are buying my sheep, to know what they have been vaccinated with and treatment as well. I am very proud of the sheep that I've raised, and I want to have, the buyer know that I put a lot of work and effort into my sheep and my flock to have them in tip-top shape as I can, and here are all the vaccines that are given to them. And for cattle wise, I know my family, provides a description of the cattle, where they're coming from, the number of steers, the number of heifers, and here are all the vaccines below that were given, the product name, as well as when the date were given. As far as weaning weight, they had been weaned from the ranch and they went straight shipped all the way to the auction, or they've been weaned from the house, then fed, and they've been shipped off. Any additional information like beef quality assurance, sometimes they're very helpful in some auctions, and they'll give you kind of a boost if you do mention your BQA number. So owner and ranch name, your address, your phone number if they need to get in contact with you, and you put down your signature because you know that you've provided all this information accurate and true. So with that being said, summary, keep a habit of record keeping. Choose a method that's best works for you. If you are more into the manual type record keeping system, by all means, great. But if you're wanting to look more into the computerized, then there's a lot of softwares out there for you to choose from. It's just a matter of looking through them and using the resource that I provided you and make your best judgment on them, and record what is important to your operation that will help you reach your goal. Okay, so I am a little bit over the time, so I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I will allow Terrell to go ahead and provide your screen.
Thanks, Mikkel. That was always informative. I just wanted to remind all our viewers that when you keep records such as immunizations and just the overall health of your cattle, that you increase the price of your cattle when you sell them at the auction. So that's just one positive thing of keeping records. So
Yep.
um,
Thank
I'm going to share my screen. I'm Terrell Yazzie. I'm a program coordinator. Sorry, I'm a program specialist. I'm sorry, my title has changed so many times. I'm just going to stick with I'm a tech because that's all I can remember right now. I don't remember my title has changed so much. So I'm just a tech. Um, I help New Mexico State enable sustainable agriculture by writing conservation plans and um, do other assistance in terms of technical assistance, such as writing business plans and also helping fill out USDA financial forms and also NRCS. So I'm going to share my screen and get started. Um, what's going on here? Okay. All right. What's going on here? Okay. So I'm going to share with you a financial record keeping story using my family's own sheep camp. Uh, so I'm an NSA specialist. Sorry, I got family here. They're running back and forth doing stuff. So just ignore them. This is the financial record keeping story. So we do these presentations in person. All our attendees get a New Mexico farm and ranch record calendar. But since we're doing this virtual, I'm going to give you a virtual tour of the booklet. So this is the New Mexico Farm and Ranch Record Calendar. As the title implies, it's made by New Mexico State. Here, it tells you how to use your calendar. It has monthly income, expenses, a little pocket to keep your receipts, a day calendar, and enter your summary at the end, where you can then evaluate your operation. So as we look at January, you can see your day calendar where you can input your days. There is the receipt holder, and then a table to record your income and your expenses, any home consumption, and any labor that you have for each month. So the next example shows October, and again, it has a receipt bag and also a table for expenses. At the end of the booklet, there is a year-to-end summary for income for each of the months, and also a year-to-end summary for expenses from January to December. So that's the book in a nutshell. And we're going to go through that through my little story here. So why keep financials? It helps you identify places where you can reduce costs, look into profitability, make decisions of your operation, buy more sheep, get rid of sheep, and plan for future investments. Overall, it's going to allow you to optimize, increase production, and profitability. So the Aussie Sheep Camp, we completed a conservation plan. Our land can allow us to have 15 sheep units. And currently we're going to look at our sheep camp, which has a flock of 10 sheep. They are open range, so they have an opportunity to graze in the area. And we practice winter lambing. So what does our herd look like? So we have 5 ewes that are 3 years or older. We also have some yearlings. They're 2 years and they're currently pregnant. So we have a herd of 10 sheep. So we're going to follow this winter timeline here through uh, our little record book. So in January and February, we have some pregnant ewes that we need to supplement. We got to get ready for lambing. So in January, sorry, this should say 2024. On the first day of January, I need to go to Nappy, get some hay, get some corn, and get a protein tub to supplement these pregnant ewes. I also need to get supplemental milk from IFA just in case I have any orphans. And it's going to cost me gas to go get these supplies. So I come over here to January in my record keeping book and I go to expenses. So we're going to zoom in on expenses for lambing. So here we are in January. We went to Nappy to get 30 bales of hay at $12. Cost us $360 for livestock expense. We also got corn, $12 for 10 bags. That's $120. We went to get a protein tub, 160-pound tub, cost about $67. We also went to IFA and got a 25-pound tub of milk powder, about $72. Then we needed gas. So we're half full. So we filled it up, 350 a gallon. We got 52.50. So then we add up our expenses for that monthly total. Livestock expenses came out to $619, gas and fuel $52.50. Total expense came for January $671.50. Okay, so now we're ready for lambs. So what happened with the lambing? 3 of our ewes had twins. Yay! So we're happy, right? Oh, bless with little twins. 2 of our ewes just had a single lamb, and somehow 2 of our older ewes had lambs. So we had a pesky ram. So we still have a total of 10 lambs in our herd. So now we're going to go on to March. We need to wean these new little lambs. We also need to castrate, doctor tails, and vaccinate the lambs, and also vaccinate our ewes. So we're going to have some expenses. So for the young lambs, we need to get them foraging on hay. So we bought some hay. We're going to need rings to castrate them, and we also need some vaccines from IFA. Again, we're going to need gas to obtain these supplies. So we're here in March. We're going to have into the expense column. We're going to buy 15 bales at $12, came to $180. Need to get the IFA rings, so we got 100 rings in a bag for $4. We got a vaccine, 100 mils for $50, and we got gas. That's $52.50. So the monthly total for livestock expenses was $234. Gas was $52.50. Total cost of expenses was $286.50 for the month of March. So here we are in March again. So I need help castrating these lambs. So I paid somebody to help me. Came over here to labor expense. They're still in March. Paid them $100 for their help. Okay, so now we're moving right along. We have some ewes we want to get ready for lambing and supplement them with hay. So what are we going to do? We decided to go purchase some yearlings. And now we have a herd of 15. So we purchased some lambs. We have an expense for ewes, I'm sorry. So on April 7th, we decided to go to Cow House and buy these yearlings. So we needed gas to go get them. We also went to go get some hay a week later to supplement these new yearlings to our herd. And it also needed gas for the travel to get hay. So here we are in April. We had the expense of these yearlings. We bought 5 yearlings at $125 a piece. Livestock expense came out to $625. The gas on the 7th cost $3.50 per gallon, came out to $50.50. Then that week later, we bought hay from Nappy. We bought 10 bales, $120 for livestock expense. Then we needed gas again to go get those bales because we're driving all over the place. We're going to add up these totals, $745 for livestock expenses, $101 for fuel and gas. Total expense was $846 for April. So moving right along our timeline, we need to get these lambs that were born ready for market. We need to booster them also, and we need to booster our ewes. So here we are in June. On the first Monday, we're going to sell them at Cow House, and we need gas to take them over to Cow House. So for June, we have some income because we're going to sell these lambs. So we're at Cow House. They're buying the lambs at $4 per pound. We have 5 lambs. They weigh about 90 pounds, good and healthy, nice and heavy. Total of 450 pounds for a total value of $1,800. So for the total monthly value of income for June, we have $1,800. So we're still here in June. We had some expenses. We had to go pay for gas to take these ewes to the Cow House. So here we are in expenses for selling lambs. So we had gas. We had an empty truck. We had to fill it up 36 gallons. So it cost us 126. Monthly total 126 for expenses for June. So what does our herd look like now? So we sold 5 lambs. We now have a herd of 15 ewes. We have the newly acquired ewes, our 5 plus 3 year ewes, and our yearlings. And we still have 5 lambs. So what's happening in July? We need to breed these yearlings and introduce a ram into the flock. We also need to vaccinate all the breeding ewes. So here on July 20th, we asked our cousin, hey, can we borrow a ram? And they gave us the family price. So we're going to go get that ram and we need gas to go get it. Sorry, I don't know what's going on here. There we go. So there's July. And we're in July and we have the expense of going to go get the ram. So the cousin said, I'll give it to you, I'll let you borrow the ram for 150. And we got the family price. So it cost $50. I'm sorry. And we needed gas. We just thought we'd top off the tank. So we got 15 gallons at 350, came out to 52.50. Total livestock expense was $50. Gas and fuel was 52.50, came out to 102.50. That was for July. So now we need to sell some ewes. Our herd is getting too large, so we need to get rid of these older ewes that we have. So on August, on the first Monday, on the 26th, we decided to sell our ewes at Cow House. We need gas to go take them there. Then the next day, a neighbor said, "Oh, I saw you taking cows to Cow House. Why don't you sell me one?" So we're going to sell a ewe to the neighbor. So here we are in August. We're going to have some income because we're selling. So we're going to record this selling of these ewes. Excuse me. We're in August. So on the 26th, we went to Cow House. They're buying at $2 per pound. We had some nice, healthy ewes, nice and large, 200 pounds. We had 3 of them, total weight of 600. At $2 a pound, we came up to $1,200. The neighbor, we sold them one, and it was about 200 pounds. So we gave them a $50 off discount. We said, we know these ewes are healthy. We'll take $50 off our usual price. So we sold it for $150. Total value was $1,350 for August selling our ewes. So we're happy with that. We got money in our pocket. Now we're still in August. Now we have some expenses. We had that gas that we had to use to go sell these animals. So we had to top off the tank, $3.50 a gallon. At 15 gallons, came out to $52.50. Total expense for August, $52.50. So what does our herd look like now? We sold 4 ewes. We now have a herd of 11. We still have our 5 little lambs. They're growing up, but they're still cute, so we're keeping them. So now we're getting towards the end of the season. We're in October. And what is everybody who lives in Shiprock area, Northern Agency, we got Shiprock Fair coming around. So what does that mean? Well, we're going to consume some mutton. So we're going to record it here in home consumption corner. We had a one nice healthy ewe, 200 pounds. We estimated about $200. So we recorded that. We recorded our own consumption of our own meat. So now we got rid of the lamb, the oldest ewe. We have a herd of 10. And we have those new yearlings that we purchased that we got pregnant with the ram. So now we have a total of 5 lambs for a herd of 10. So now we need to supplement these. So we're getting towards the end of the year. We need to supplement these pregnant ewes with hay, grains, and protein to make sure that they can nurse their young and are good mothers and are healthy themselves. So on October 25th, we're going to go to Nappy, grab some hay, corn, protein tubs, and of course, we always need gas to get these supplies. So here we are in October. Expenses. So we're going to get some 30 bales at $12. We have a livestock expense of $360. We got some corn, again, 10 bags for 12. That comes to $120. We have 1 protein tub for $67. And of course, the gas, $350, topped off our tank, $52.50. Total expenses for livestock was $547. Fuel and gas was $52.50. Total cost was $599.50 for October for our expenses. So now what? So just asking everybody, do you think we lost or do you think we made money? Anybody give a response verbally or through chat? I don't think I can see your chat. Anybody? Lost, made? Oh, I got one chat. Great.
Loss.
Okay, it looks like we lost some money. Okay, let's check it out. Well, we had a busy year. You know, we were busy selling, we were busy taking care, feeding, and doing all the necessary um, care for our sheep. So let's go back through our finances here. So let's review the expenses and incomes. So in each month, we're going to have uh, the month, and then we're going to have the monthly total. We're going to have the livestock expenses and our fuel, and we're going to look at this last number here, $671.50, and record that for each month here in the expenses um, page, which is at the last page of our record keeping book. So for January, we had livestock expense of 619. We had gas at 52.50, total of 671.50. And we're going to go through each month and record those. So we had, of course, expenses for each month. There were some days we may have made money, but we're going to count only expenses. So we're going to here and add them all up for each month and come to a final value of expenses of almost $3,000. So we spent $2,732 to care for our 10 sheep, well, 15 now. So then we have some income because we sold lambs and we sold ewes. So here we are in June. We made some money off some lambs. We have the monthly total, which was 1,800. So we have another page in our record keeping book, which says year-end summary for income. And we're going to follow the same protocol, adding the numbers into the table. So in June, we had 5 pounds, 5 90-pound lambs, came out to a total of 450 pounds at $4 a pound. We had 1,800 in sales. And then for the ewes, we sold 4. They were 200 pounds, total pounds of 800, $2 per pound gave us 1,350. So we did consume one, so that doesn't count on the table. It's separate because it was personal consumption, neither loss or income. So we sold a total of 9 ewes. We consumed 1. Total income came to 3,150. So when we compare, we actually made $418 this year, and that's a positive. When you're trying to seek outside assistance from USDA, they, even if you're making $418 and they want to help you financially, they want to see you're at least making money with your operation. And this 418 is proof that your operation, my sheep operation is making money throughout the year. And that is our record keeping, and we appreciate your attention. And Mikhail will close out this meeting.
Okay. All right. So now we can go ahead and take questions. Let's see. While some of you are thinking about some questions, I'm going to share our polls. Okay, so there is a pop-up that just now may have reached your screen. So if you complete that poll, that really helps us, by the way. So if you're understanding the livestock record before the webinar, what was your rating? Did you had an idea of a basic record keeping, from a scale from 1 to 5? Then after the aftermath, when you have attended this webinar, where is your scale at now? Any additional information as far as comments go, if you want to see this more detailed in person, or if there is a location such as like the local chapter house that you would wish for livestock record keeping workshop to be placed at, I'd be happy to be work with you. We actually have the record books on hand for us, so it's really handy and I really like it. And Terrell does a really good job of explaining on how to navigate through each column. So we really like to give out these booklets. So if I could get, information from folks on where to provide this presentation, I'd be happy. Okay. So while that's rolling and I see a lot of you commenting now, okay. Will we get a copy of the presentation? Yes, there'll be the PDF copies of the presentation for next week. Erica, can you share that form of the sales? Sure, that's fine. It's just our own template, but I'd be happy to share it.
Oh, Beverly Lewis had a question about what about paid help? Were you able to see where labor was, Beverly, in the presentation?
Do you
I
want to
know
show them?
I know I kind of moved fast.
Yeah. You
Sure,
want to share your screen?
sure. Let me
Okay.
just show her really quick. Okay, let me share my screen. Whoa. Okay, here in the bottom right corner, making sure in the bottom right hand corner says labor machine hire is where you would place if I had a the first column is where you would put the price you paid for labor. If it was some other type of labor like specialty welding, or you could place it under the other enter equipment or building. If you had to maybe move your sheep to another, maybe you took them to Nappy for the spring or winter and they're foraging out in Nappy fields and you had to pay equipment and building or other, could go under other. Does that does that answer your question?
Okay.
I think so.
All right. If you guys have any questions and you want to unmute yourself, you're more than happy to. If not, then if we don't get any questions like in a minute, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Okay.
Oh, there's a question, Mikkel.
Yes.
Kathleen Frame asked, when you record your cattle tally, do you put the tally vaccine info in one document? So I guess that would be your side.
When you record your cattle tally, do you put the tally vaccine info in one document? You can if you want, if that's how you want to record your records by putting the cattle tally and the vaccine info in one document. If that helps you, by all means. For me, it's separated. Ina, is there a chance we could get access to the calendar or booklets, or are they only available for in-person sessions? Good question. We would have to have the in-person just because there's a lot of people on here now that are attending the webinar, and I doubt that we would get all of their information as far as like mailing addresses. But I feel that you could definitely get this booklet in person. Okay, any more questions from our audience tonight? Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, let me, oh, wrong one. Okay. All right, let's see, there's more. Okay. No, thank you, thank you. Okay, so that will conclude our presentation for tonight. That would wrap up our livestock production side of record keeping and the financial portion. Normally, it will go a little bit longer because there's more detail to it, but since our time frame is just between 5:30 and 6:30, we just have to really like crunch it up. So it's more in depth, and if we can host this in person and if I could get some folks' help to make this happen for in-person events at a local chapter house, I'd be grateful. Because I know this information is much needed, and this has been a highly requested record keeping workshop webinar. Um, so it just shows that even the basics are needed every single year to be shared again. So I appreciate for those of you that are coming on here tonight to discuss the basics of record keeping. All right, so moving on to upcoming events, we have a sheep wool mulching gardening type webinar for next week on the 28th. So this is going to be presented by Dr. Melaine Scott, and she's coming from Utah State University, and she's the horticulture specialist. So if some of you already, all of us are done sharing, so some of the wool, maybe you have given it to the Navajo wool buying program that has been going on with Dene College and NNDA. And maybe some you have saved for yourself. Maybe it's for weaving, or better yet, you can incorporate it into your gardening methods. So this has kind of been on a 2-year project with them. So this is their first, I guess, pilot project. And they've seen that the USU locally in Utah, they have some sheep's grown there locally, and they're just been trashing that wool, and they want to incorporate that into the gardening. So they're doing some research on how to not just trash these, but maybe you can incorporate into your gardening methods. So scan that QR code if you're from your desktop. I will show you, sorry, real quick about how to navigate for upcoming events. Okay, so the next one that we have for September is ewe replacement and culling webinar, and this will be presented by another USU extension specialist, and he is Chad Page, and he is very good. I really love his talks when it comes to sheep topics and goat topics. So if you haven't tuned in into the ram selection from last week, I highly, highly suggest it. I completely learn from him every single session that he has to offer. And it's just, it amazes me so of how much information that I've been missing out, thinking that I've known all this stuff. And sure enough, there's new information out there that I just desperately want to share with you guys. So if you have missed out on that RAM selection, go back to our webinars and workshops and you'll see the information there. Okay. So here's our livestock first aid training workshop. So this is definitely suggested for everyone to attend. We have been putting this up for the 3rd year in a row now. So this next one is coming up on September 26th at McGee Park in Farmington, New Mexico. And our presenter slash demonstrator will be Dr. Wenzel. He is coming from the main campus at NMSU, and he's the extension veterinarian. So he is no stranger in these parts. He's definitely been down here quite a few times, maybe not even a few, maybe a lot. But he is definitely the best hands-on and presenter there is in my mind. He does a lot of good explaining for us, and I really highly suggest for every one of you that are on here to attend. If you do attend, you for the whole session from 8 to 5, then you do get a kit bag. So participation, so come participate in a full day hands-on activity. So you'll be learning about vaccine techniques for both cattle and sheep. deworming process for cattle and sheep as well. You'll be learning about the suturing of external minor wounds on livestock. So he will go through the kit bag and just share with you of how to use those tools when it comes to minor cuts that, may have gotten on your livestock. Maybe a bob wire just slipped in it, just kind of made a minor external cut on the cattle or even your sheep. And a demonstration on the trick testing on a bull. And there's so much more that you could incorporate, that you can participate in this. So here are just a couple of pictures I just want to share with you guys. We do have some folks here in the corner that were practicing suturing with the help from Dr. Wenzel. So Dr. Wenzel is here in the red cap and the blue shirt. We had these hosted in Shiprock 2 years ago. Actually, this was in Crown Point when we had the horse demonstration involved in as well. But just this year, we are just having cattle and sheep. And here we had some folks that participated in vaccinating the cattle and as well as administering injectable dewormer. So it's pretty hands-on, and if you want to be part of it, definitely do. This were just kind of like an outline of the bags that we used to have received, but it's a little bit quite different. We made it different just because the extension veterinarian had provided his intake of what should be in the bag and what should not be in the bag of these. So we mixed it a little. So now it is solely on what the presenter, the extension specialist, wanted producers to have on hand. So this picture is a bit blurry. This came from one of our producers who are using a bag. This was during shearing season, and I guess they really sharpened the knives and they just kind of made a cut on the sheep. And so they were using their bag that they gotten from the training and, applied that training onto their sheep. So here are the information on our social platform. We do have an operating website, Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. So all of our webinars are shared through the YouTube channel, and any publications that the presenter likes to share, we'll go ahead and share that information as well. And I will show you here momentarily on how our website looks like. So here's our website. If you guys are all seeing this, I hope you are. Okay. So this is our homepage.
Yeah, we see it.
Oh, you see it? Okay, great. So if you see our homepage now, this is what it will look like if you type in nsa.nmsu.edu. It'll bring you here, and it has our quick access to our Facebook page. So if you go under upcoming events, you scroll down, you'll see our record keeping webinar that's already presented tonight. Then we have our sheep wool mulching webinar, our ewe replacement and culling. We do have a poultry management from a presenter locally here in San Juan County. She's pretty neat. I really like her. I believe you guys are all going to like her talk. She really goes in depth in the poultry management side of things. So you would think that you just feed chickens out there, let them eat grubs and bugs and whatever, and you're a chicken expert, but apparently we're not. So it's really interesting. So if you partake in the poultry management, I really like her talks from before. So you all will probably like her talk too. Livestock first aid training workshop. This is where I mention just kind of the rundown of what you will be expecting to do during the training, and lunch is provided. So if you guys are registering as a family, I suggest that you put down whomever is going to register their full name. Then underneath it, it will say on the registration who else is coming along with you, and provide their full names. Just because it's really helpful for us to know how many people are coming when our lunch is being catered. So if you guys will kindly provide that information, I greatly appreciate it. So that's what the rundown is for the whole month of September. We do have more coming up. We do have a newsletter already out for July. Uh, Currently, it's not on there, so it'll be on there momentarily. But if you want to subscribe, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and July will be sent to you. Here's the webinars and workshops. Like I mentioned, RAM selection and soundness exam was provided last week. Here are the webinar recording. Will take you directly to our YouTube page. Here are the PowerPoint slides and the speakers resources. I really suggest that you guys get to know the resources and tend to go and navigate through this. And this one is just, talking about small ruminant parasite control. Anything that talks about control topics, deworming, you may want to look into it. So there's articles, charts, fact sheets that may be helpful for you. So all that information is on here. We do share all of their publications as much as they can. It's just depending on them if they want us to share, but there's more and more. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and end tonight's presentation. I just want to thank every single one of you for coming on here tonight. I will be your host and moderator for this evening. So my name is Mikkel Silversmith, and I am the NSA project coordinator. Okay. I don't know why my mouse is not working. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we're known as the Navajo Sustainable Agriculture Project. We're under the New Mexico Cooperative Extension, but we're funded by the USDA Outreach and Assistance for Native Farmers and Ranchers and Veteran Farmers and Ranchers Program. So we basically do outreach in person and over webinars and Zoom with the help from many of our project partners, from Dene College Land Grant Office to COPE, the Community Outreach and Patient Empowerment. We also have some of the specialists come down from the main campus in Las Cruces to provide us some outreach and assistance in person when it comes to livestock related topics. So one of our goals is to help our producers improve their operations, both profitability and sustainability. Like I've mentioned before, we do assist in providing educational assistance, depending on what the producers want to see. And we do try to make it by season. So for, say, this month of August, we're starting to go ahead and think about ram selection for our flock, maybe bull selection as well, and trying to get our heifers prepped for breeding season, and so is our sheep, as far as it comes to tree pruning as well. In some areas, we do have some pest management that we do need to take care of during the middle of the year. So we do try to make it as different as possible for every other week. We do try to change it from a livestock topic to horticulture, crops, and all over again. So we do provide as much as resources as we can every month. So if you are interested in learning more about our upcoming events, I will be happy to share with you what we have for end of this month, which is next week, and as well as September. And secondly, increase our producers' knowledge in USDA programs. All of you on here are pretty much aware about NRCS and FSA programs as well. Maybe some of you that know may have gone through rural development with housings or risk management agency and other resource providers such as Navajo Nation Department of Agriculture, where they have the agriculture infrastructure program that they offer to ranchers and gardeners. So we try to give them the platform as much as we can when it comes to webinars as well. During COVID, we had a virtual resource fair where we brought local field offices from local agencies such as San Juan County, McKinley County, and Cibola in to talk about programs that are pretty much popular or much needed in their area that involves farmers and ranchers. Increase the local production and consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables and healthy foods by Navajo families and individuals. So this is our gardening program, and we finally have a person on board that is really experienced in the horticulture realm, that he is going to be moving forward with our horticulture with schools, and sooner or later we hope to see more in-person workshops related to gardening as well.